Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're unpacking a massive, completely invisible toll that's likely affecting your life right this very second. We're talking about the hidden cost of habits. We are going to dive deep into those unconscious behaviors that just take a silent, heavy toll on both our time and our money. You'll see exactly how high-earning professionals often end up unknowingly trapped by what we call golden handcuffs. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how you can systematically break free.
So let's just start with a slightly provocative question. If you make a decent income, why does true financial and professional freedom still feel so far away? It's a wildly frustrating paradox, right? You work hard, you earn well, yet building that comfortable financial runway for, say, a career shift or just true independence, it kind of feels like a mirage that just keeps receding into the distance. Seriously, where is it all going?
Section 1. The hidden cost of habits, death by 1,000 cuts.
Take a guy named David, for example. David's a talented engineer making a really solid six-figure salary. He meticulously budgeted for all his major expenses, the mortgage, the car payments, the big stuff. Yet month after month, he just felt perpetually broke. His savings account was stubbornly stagnant. Well, when he finally sat down and tracked every single transaction without judgment, he found the truth. His wealth wasn't actually being drained by those massive perceived costs. It was the silent drain of daily takeout lunches, mindless online shopping, streaming subscriptions he totally forgot about, and those algorithmic time sinks on his phone. Individually, tiny. But collectively, they were literally siphoning away hundreds of dollars and hours of productive time every single month.
And that leads us to a pretty hard truth. Unconscious habits truly dictate your financial and career trajectory. Our autopilot routines like dropping $15 on a daily lunch or losing 30 minutes to an algorithmic newsfeed. These are the real, invisible blocks that hold us back. True freedom doesn't kick off with some grand, dramatic escape plan. It starts with a quiet awareness of this internal programming.
Moving to Section 2. The willpower trap. Why discipline fails.
Okay, so once we realize we have these invisible leaks in our time and money, our first instinct is usually just brute force willpower. We think, I'm just going to try harder. But relying on discipline alone is fundamentally flawed. Willpower is a finite, exhaustible resource. It's highly emotional and exhausting. So when a stressful work week hits, that sheer discipline you were using to stick to a strict budget, it crumbles entirely, leading straight to burnout. Systems, on the other hand, are a totally different beast. They're automated, mechanical, and actually sustainable because they create a path of least resistance. You literally don't have to choose to be disciplined if your environment is already doing the heavy lifting for you.
So if you take nothing else away, remember this crucial point. Failing to stick to a habit isn't a moral flaw. You aren't lazy and you don't inherently lack discipline. It's just that your environment and your systems are failing to support your long-term goals. Depersonalizing this struggle is so incredibly empowering. It means you can fix it by acting like an architect designing a building rather than a drill sergeant yelling at yourself.
All right, Section 3. Decoding the habit loop. Depersonalizing the struggle.
If we want to design better systems, we have to understand the underlying mechanics. Every single habit operates on a four-part loop. First up is the cue, say a really stressful interaction with your boss. Second comes the craving, that intense desire for immediate relief from the stress. Third is the response. Maybe you turn to impulsive online shopping. And finally, the reward, a temporary distraction from that awful feeling. Identifying your own specific cues is absolutely your superpower here. It lets you intercept a bad reaction right before it takes over your bank account.
Now, instead of fighting this loop, you can literally hijack your own brain using a technique called habit stacking. This just means systematically linking a small, beneficial new action directly onto an existing, established routine. See, your brain loves efficiency. So you might tell yourself, right after I pour my morning coffee, I will review my budget for exactly 2 minutes. You're basically anchoring this fragile new behavior to a rock-solid old one.
Which brings us to Section 4, designing your environment, architecting success. Look, your physical surroundings are either your greatest ally or your most formidable foe in this quest for financial and professional freedom. But you can proactively shape your space for success with some rapid-fire hacks. Make positive cues obvious. Want to learn a high-income skill? Leave the book right on your pillow. Make bad habits invisible. Literally unplug the TV or hide the remote if mindless watching is your hidden cost. By raising the friction for bad habits and lowering it for good ones, and even pre-scheduling things like networking outreach, you engineer your own success. And when it comes to kicking off those good habits, the 2-minute rule is a total game changer. Our brains naturally resist complexity and overwhelming tasks. So to eradicate procrastination, just simplify the entry point. Commit to doing the task for just 2 minutes. Read one page. Open the spreadsheet. That tiny start completely shatters the psychological friction of beginning and instantly builds momentum.
Another brilliant environmental hack is something called temptation bundling. This is where you deliberately pair an activity you want to do with an activity you absolutely need to do. For example, only allowing yourself to listen to your absolute favorite podcast while you suffer through your dreaded weekly expense review. You're successfully hacking your brain's natural inclination to seek pleasure by tying the reward directly to the necessary work.
Finally, Section 5, the compounding 1%, micro habits for macro financial gains. To reach ultimate freedom, we really have to dismantle the myth of the grand gesture. True wealth and career independence, they aren't built in massive heroic leaps. They're built through the compounding reality of tiny daily advantages. Just think about the number 90 for a second. If you dedicate just 15 minutes a day to learning a new, high-demand market skill, that tiny effort compounds into a staggering 90 hours of focused learning over a single year. That is more than enough to break through your perceived career ceilings and dramatically bump up your earning power.
Because progress is an S-curve, right? When you start automating small savings or practicing a skill for a few minutes a day, the growth in month 1 usually looks totally flat. Even by month 6, it might just feel kind of modest. But by month 12, the compounding effect explodes into undeniable exponential leverage. Your small, seemingly insignificant automated efforts have completely transformed into macro financial gains.
Ultimately, a 60-second task today is always more impactful than a 60-minute task that never starts. We delay taking action so often because we think we need an hour of free time that, let's be honest, simply never arrives. But sending one networking email or transferring $5 to savings right now, that is the actual, literal mechanics of building your freedom.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a really close look at your own routines. Think about the invisible leaks that are draining your time and your resources right now. What is the one hidden habit you're going to eliminate today? Find it, design a quick system to beat it, and start reclaiming your true financial and professional freedom. You've got this.